Hello! Welcome to another episode of Question of the Week. This week's question is, my trach tube is capped and is no longer being used. It was originally placed in June when I had a respiratory infection. I have multiple sclerosis and my respiratory therapist said to just leave the tracheostomy tube in because I might need it in the future. Is it okay to leave the trach tube in since I am no longer using it? Thank you so much for your question. If a tracheostomy tube is no longer being used, it should be removed. Leaving a tracheostomy tube in place can cause many serious and life-threatening complications. First off, a tracheostomy tube takes up space in the trachea. With the tracheostomy tube capped, air must be forced through a very narrow airway. This will be very energy demanding and will fatigue the respiratory muscles. Since you have multiple sclerosis, over time, the constant stress on the respiratory muscles can cause the muscles to fail. This may lead to respiratory failure. Second, a tracheostomy tube is an indwelling medical device. The number one complication for indwelling medical devices is infections. Bacteria love to attach to medical devices. The bacteria aggregate to form a biofilm. Biofilms are extremely hard to treat because they are often resistant to antibiotics. Biofilms cause a lot of illness and death. Third, a tracheostomy tube affects how the immune system functions in the trachea. In the airway, there are cilia which move back and forth. This clears the airway of debris and microorganisms. A tracheostomy tube prevents the cilia from being able to properly clear the airway. This will increase the likelihood a person with a tracheostomy tube will develop an infection. Fourth, the tracheostomy tube irritates the airways and causes the body to produce a lot of mucus. Since the trachea is being obstructed by the tracheostomy tube, it will be much harder to clear the airway of mucus. This will lead to an increased likelihood of an infection. Also, the mucus may block the airway, which may lead to death from not being able to breathe. There are other reasons the tracheostomy tube should be removed, but for time's sake, I will refrain from listing them. In short, if a tracheostomy tube is not being used, it should be removed. Regarding your need for possibly using a tracheostomy tube in the future, please remember using a tracheostomy tube is a last resort. For people with multiple sclerosis, once breathing is affected, the person is usually enrolled into a breathing therapy program. This program includes learning breathing exercises. Additionally, a positive expiratory pressure device or an a cappella machine may be used to assist with breathing and clearing secretions. For many with MS, this is all which is needed. If these methods fail, non-invasive ventilation may be used. With non-invasive ventilation, a mask is placed over the face. The amount of support the ventilator provides can be increased to a very high level. Very few people who use non-invasive ventilation move on to using a tracheostomy tube and invasive ventilation. Those who do need to get a tracheostomy tube first spend about 5 to 10 years on non-invasive ventilation. To keep a tracheostomy tube in because you may need to use it in 5 to 10 years is not a wise decision. There is also the possibility you may never need a tracheostomy tube. There are many complications associated with having a tracheostomy tube. If the tracheostomy tube is not being used, please have it removed. Thank you so much for your question. And remember, if you have a question, you can leave it below in the comments or submit it to me via Facebook, MeWe, Instagram, or email. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye.